There are plans in Ottawa County for a facility that would use chicken litter to create a product called biogas, but not everyone is excited about it. I'm Samantha Walker, and I'll have that story coming up.
Plus, the Regional Better Business Bureau warns online daters about romance scams. And a Fort Scott museum takes a look back on the civil rights movement.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Breaking news tonight as an explosion draws first responders to a house in Chanute. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Tanya Bach. The report came in earlier this afternoon to the Chanute Fire Department. Emergency crews dispatched to the 600 block of West 16th for a report of a structure fire with a possible explosion. The state fire marshal was called to investigate. Again, this is a breaking news story. We'll have more information as it develops on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. A company hopes to create a facility using chicken waste to produce a methane-based gas in Ottawa County. The possibility is drawing concerns from residents and environmental groups. The co-founder of the company hoping to build the facility flew in and met with KOAM's Samantha Walker. He explains what the facility would be like and addresses some of those concerns.
Argo Development Partners is a small U.S. company hoping to build a facility in Ottawa County that would create products using chicken litter. They plan to bring in over 160,000 tons of litter from local farmers a year.
Basically mix it with water, do a biological process where we convert carbon and nitrogen into 3 products, and all 3 of those products are really agricultural products that are renewable natural gas, liquid fertilizer, and solid fertilizer.
Walker says the company looked at sites in Arkansas and Missouri, but ultimately chose Ottawa County in Oklahoma because of its access to the natural gas pipeline and the proximity to farmers with chicken litter.
There's a very significant pipeline that runs right across the side of site, so our material won't have to leave site. So we'll generate it on site and it will immediately go into the pipeline.
The community isn't necessarily welcoming the facility.
I just think that won't be good for us. And who will want to breathe this?
The smell is just one concern. Lead Agency Inc., an environmental group out of Miami, says the site could prove harmful to the community.
You see the entire area downwind of this facility is in either the 90th to 95th percentile for the orange or in the 95th to 100th percentile in the red for asthma.
Walker says the facility is being designed with air quality and odor in mind.
You can drive up and you don't smell it until you open the door. I mean, once you open the door, it smells like it smells like a poultry operation. But until you open the door to the facility, it really does not smell.
Not only is LEED concerned about air pollution, but the potential for groundwater contamination. Walker says they're keeping safety and storage in mind, such as using secondary containment for anything stored in the tank.
A lot of litter will be on like concrete pads, right? So we'll have it in an engineered solution where we're not going to have a lot of runoff.
Brent Rendell owns the land where the facility will go and is leasing it to Argo. He says he originally shared some of the same concerns.
Will it smell? What are you going to do to keep the waste products where they're supposed to be and not where they're not supposed to be? And what sort of an impact will this have on the environment?
Rendell adds the facility could prove good for farmers and for the environment.
If you look at what this system replaces, it's actually reducing the emissions.
Residents say they just want to protect their homes.
You want a clean place, you want a safe place to live, and that's what we had for many, many years. And we don't want to see that change.
The facility's open air permit is in the public comment phase with the DEQ. Lead Agency Inc. is encouraging residents to come forward with whatever questions or concerns they have.
Not a complaint to your neighbor, but a comment to the only agency right now that can stop it, and that's the DEQ.
Reporting in Ottawa County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Ottawa County residents are encouraged to submit public comments to the state DEQ by January 22nd, and you can find a link to that and more information on the proposed facility at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, of course, it turned out to be another cold one for us today. Temperatures really struggled to warm up only into lower 20s. It's 19 in Joplin, it's 20 in Pittsburgh, 17 in Nevada, 21 in Neosho, 22 in Bella Vista, Miami 21, 17 in Chanute. And we're going to drop once again for us tonight. We'll slide back through the teens, but eventually we're going to get into the lower single digits. We've had a pretty long stretch now that our temperatures have been below freezing really since Friday night. So with the extreme cold for us tonight, you probably want to drop or let your faucets drip. Wind chills are going to be down there 0 to about -5 by morning, and our actual temperature near 0. We do have a few clouds rotating through, and there are a couple random little flurries. Not a big deal, but we are going to warm back up. We're going to talk about that here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, love might soon be in the air for some. Others will use Valentine's Day as an excuse to steal more than someone's heart. The Better Business Bureau wants to warn people ahead of the holiday that scammers use online dating and social media to take advantage of people looking for love. Pamela Hernandez, the regional director for the BBB office, says always be aware of red flags.
So a couple of very common red flags that consumers tell BBB about are folks who are, well, too hot to be true. I say a lot with online shopping. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And the same thing applies to dating online. Also, someone who's in a hurry to get off the dating platform and they can't meet. Either they can't or they won't. There's some reason they can't meet you in person.
And we have more information on how to protect yourself on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. The Gordon Parks Museum in Fort Scott, Kansas took a camera's eye look at the civil rights movement today. The event, Power of Imagery and Civil Rights Experience, explores the power of photography during the civil rights movement from pre-1900s to today. Ann Dean, who teaches photography at the Lawrence Arts Center, hopes people can bond through the shared experience. With new leadership in the White House, some Joplin residents express their hopes for the next 4 years. Their stories coming up next. And later in sports, tournament time tips off on the hardwood for some local high schools. KOAM Sports Director John Dales has a preview of tonight's action. With the inauguration of President Donald Trump, the nation faces the possibility of new rules and policies. And while some people support these positions, others strongly oppose them. KOAM's Lonnie Walton talks to locals about their hopes for the next 4 years.
Hope doesn't happen the most is I hope that he doesn't do his mass deportation plans.
Austin Reed is a treasurer for the Jasper County Democratic Committee. He says he's a little worried about what the next 4 years will bring this country.
There's so many mixed community households that people's families are going to be split up even more, even though he said we can deport all of them. Some of those people are naturalized U.S. citizens. They were born here.
Reed also says he's worried about the ones he loves.
My mom is a gay woman, and my stepmom is a gay woman. My little sister is a gay woman. There's a lot of people in my life that at least his social policy will affect greatly.
Susan Wagner is the Jasper County Democratic Central Committee chair, and she says,
we hope that this next 4 years we see the rule of law upheld and the tenets of the Constitution upheld.
Local resident Cheryl McEwen says she's fine with the inauguration, but her biggest hope is the care for seniors.
Hoping that we can maintain a quality of life that we've had in the past. Hope that we get some additional benefits at no additional cost to us.
Speaking of money, both Wagner and Reed hope all funds are distributed equally.
I really do hope that the voters that voted for him get what they believe they're going to get from him. Lower prices of eggs and groceries. I hope he prioritizes that over giving tax cuts to the billionaire class.
Not going to be able to lower groceries as quickly as he claims he's going to.
Although no one knows what the future truly holds, Reed says it's not looking the best in his opinion.
Nothing, at least economically, is going to get better. More than likely it is going to get worse.
Reporting in Joplin, Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Now, Reed says one of the best ways to support change is to get involved. A little later, Webb City looks for a head Cardinal for its softball program. John has the latest coming up in sports.
Plus another super cold night for us tonight. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, it turned out to be a super cold day for us today. Temperatures really just didn't go anywhere. The Arctic air moved back in on Saturday, and we've been kind of in the cellar ever since. Yesterday, we only got to about 20. We got into lower single digits again this morning. This afternoon, we only get into lower 20s. We're going to go back down once again by the time we head into the morning hours for us tomorrow. Let's go outside through the evening, slide back through the teens. We are going to have some clouds. There may be a few flurries flying out there, not a big deal. But yeah, it's going to be cold. It's already 19, Stockton 21, Neosho 23, and Grove. Chanute is sitting at 17 degrees, and we aren't alone. The entire country, really from the deep Arctic air, once you get up toward Duluth, all the way through Kansas City, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, where that region only happens about once a decade. There's going to be a stripe of 3 to 6 inches of snow from Houston to New Orleans toward Destin, Florida, which is kind of crazy for them, just not back here at home. We do have a light northerly wind for us tonight, but we're going to switch it back toward the southwest tomorrow afternoon. So a little bit breezy, and then the winds will start to pick up a little bit tomorrow night into Wednesday. But what that's going to do in return is shove that Arctic air out of here and help us out as we go through the next couple days, but it will be a little breezy. We do have some clouds out there. You can see a little white popping up on the radar. So there are some light little snow showers. Not a big deal. These are mainly down through Oklahoma and also parts of Arkansas. Besides that, look at our jet way up into Canada and then right down into the Central Plains. So that is why we are seeing all this cold air. Very similar pattern to what we had back about the first week of December. That's the part of the cycling weather pattern that we are in. We are going to start to clear out late tonight, but we get cold. 2, 3, 4 degrees. Make sure your faucets are dripping. We've been below freezing for a long stretch now, and we're not getting above freezing tomorrow. Through the morning hours, mid to upper teens by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, 23, 24, 25 degrees. Tomorrow night, we actually hang into lower 20s. We get some clouds in here, and then once we get into Wednesday, we get above freezing. Finally, most of us will go into the upper 30s. We do have another reinforcement shot of cooler air that moves in late Wednesday into Thursday. It's not going to be like this, but it will keep us kind of in the 30s for highs once we get into Thursday. Day planner on your Tuesday, 2 to start, 14 noon, high temp, 24 degrees. Look at this Arctic air. So where you see the edge of the colors is kind of the freezing mark. And you can see it stays in here the next couple days, tries to retreat a little bit, back in on Thursday, and then it retreats as we get into the weekend. And of course, what we do around here is we like to hang out right along that line. And that's what we're going to do as we go into this weekend. So we may get a little bit of a wintry mix. But good news long term here is all this Arctic air kind of erodes, especially late next week. We'll start to warm things back up just a bit. All right, 24 on Tuesday, 39 on Wednesday, 37 Thursday, random snow shower, 40 Friday, Saturday near 50, and then a few showers, maybe a light wintry mix moving in Saturday night into Sunday. We got to watch that system. Of course, the Chiefs play next Sunday night. I don't think it will affect them that far north, but something to watch.
Well, and they're kind of used to playing in the cold, being in Kansas City in general, though.
So is Buffalo.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. All right. Thanks, Doug.
Yep.
Well, still ahead, Webb City's head softball coach announces she's stepping down, and several of our local basketball teams go head-to-head at the Lancer Classic Tournament. John Dales has those stories and more up next in sports.
It's getting closer and closer towards the high school basketball postseason here in the 4 states, and this week a ton of our local teams playing tournaments around the area, the first of which tips off this evening at Southeast High School. It's a CNC matchup in the opening game of the 2025 Lancer Classic as Riverton takes on Columbus. Rams get off to a fast start. Just a couple minutes into the first quarter, Cale Forbes gets a steal and goes coast to coast, then lays it off the glass for Tarek Richardson, who finishes with authority. Riverton running the floor once again, and Aiden Witherspoon takes one dribble, finishes with the left hand. Titans fall behind by 16, trying to get back into it. Carter Woodcock gets the steal, goes straight to the rim, count the basket plus the foul. That definitely helps. But the Rams just get right back to work. Richardson stretches his range from the corner. That's good for 3. And a couple of minutes later, he finds Tyler Ritz ahead of the pack, attacking the basket, gets the hoop and the horn. Rams get out to that early lead. They never look back. They beat Columbus 74-55 in the opening round of the Lancer Classic. They'll play in the tournament semifinals on Thursday night. After that game, the New Heights boys basketball team takes on Neodesha. We just saw the Blue Streaks take care of Columbus on the road last week. They're 5-3 entering this contest. Cougars are 8-4 so far this season. The winner from this one will face Riverton in the winner's bracket semifinals on Thursday. Now, the entire quarterfinal round for the boys takes place tonight. After that one, we're scheduled for a 7 o'clock tip between Parsons and Commerce, a Kansas-Oklahoma crossover game. Then the host school, Southeast, takes on Baxter Springs in the nightcap. That's set for an 8:30 tip-off. Girls teams from these same 8 schools play the first round of their tournament tomorrow. Well, we've got some more coaching news for high school softball in Southwest Missouri. Webb City will be looking for a new leader for its softball program. After 10 seasons leading the Lady Cardinals, Webb City softball head coach Shauna Friend announces her retirement today. Under her direction, the Cardinals went on a run to the 2020 state championship game and accumulated more than 200 total victories over the course of 10 seasons. Right now, there's no word yet on who will take her spot. Well, tonight is the final college football game until August, and Notre Dame faces Ohio State in the Division I FBS National Championship. It's also the first national title game under the new format of a 12-team playoff. The Buckeyes and Fighting Irish both had to win 3 games in a row to get to this point. ND took down Indiana, Georgia, then most recently Penn State. Ohio State, meanwhile, beat Tennessee, Oregon, and Texas in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. Ohio State's last national championship was 2014. Notre Dame hasn't won it all since 1988. I think the thing that's fun about tonight's game is that neither of these teams would have gotten into the playoffs under the old system where only 4 teams get in. This year they allow 12 teams in and there are two last teams standing.
That's kind of interesting. Like they had to earn it. I was going to ask you, what's your take on this new 12 teams
I think
setup?
it's fun. I think it just gives more football, more games that mean something. That's what we ended up seeing.
Yeah, it's not just luck of the draw, I guess. Yeah. All right. Thanks, John. That's it for sports. We're back after this.
Can your hearing aid do this?
Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. We'll have the latest on the inauguration ceremony for the 47th President, Donald J. Trump. Plus, we look into the purpose behind presidential executive orders. And firefighters on the West Coast redouble their efforts in the face of red flag wind warnings. Those stories and a lot more tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Final check of the weather?
Yeah, it's going to be super cold tonight. So if you aren't already dripping your faucets, do it tonight. We've been below freezing for about 60 hours now. We're going to be under it for about another 36. But tonight all the way down to about 2 degrees. 24 tomorrow. Sunny. Very similar temperatures to today. And then we get above freezing on Wednesday.
That 2 degrees is before wind chill.
Correct.
Oh. Yikes. All right, final sports note.
We'll have more on that Lancer Classic basketball tournament later tonight and a lot more throughout the week. A lot more tournaments in the area going to be happening.
All right, thanks, John. Thank you for watching. We will see you right back here at 10. Have a great evening and an even better tomorrow.